Hey guys, I'm back for another video, and today I'm talking about Hytale again, and this is another ideas video. The first one was received extremely well, and a lot of people had some positive comments, and for the most part, everybody was on board with my ideas. And I had a whole bunch more, and now I finally have another 10 ideas that I think should be in Hytale. Let's go! So one of my points in the previous video was talking about how I think the world should be alive, and there should be a lot of stuff going on that is outside the player, for example, weather and weather conditions, and since that video came out, in the most recent blog post, there was some talk from a developer that was talking about sandstorms. So, oh yeah, we're getting some crazy weather in this game. So, that's one of the checkboxes already checked right off the bat. And the day I uploaded the video, actually, they were talking about server listing in the game just like I wanted. So, I think they're listening to their community, guys. Except for the server listing thing, I think that was literally by chance. But other people are probably asking for it anyway. So anyway, back to the task at hand here. So, I would like to add to my suggestion of an alive world. So one thing I loved about Cube World as a game, if you guys don't know what Cube World is, it's another voxel-based adventure RPG game. There were things that you could witness in the background. There would be NPCs in little parties. They would be running around. Maybe it'd be a trade route. They would just be traveling together, doing their own thing, as if the player was not the center of everything in that universe, which I think is really cool. I think if Hytale were to construct itself in such a way that everything isn't about the player, they're part of something bigger, the world moves on without them. There are, for example, trade routes, and there's NPCs that just so happen to be traveling by, and whether or not they interact with the player isn't important, but the fact that they are there in the background, and you might even be able to notice it, maybe you can interact with them. But yeah, I think the idea of things happening outside the player would be really cool. So maybe you'd have some NPCs that are fighting, maybe you would have, again, a trade route, maybe you could plunder that trade route and then later go to a village and then find out they're out of stock because their trade route was plundered, or maybe you didn't kill off the trade route, but you go there and it was plundered anyway because some other NPCs that are bad killed off the trade route, and maybe you could prevent that. Maybe you could notice that a trade route is getting attacked and then you could kill the aggressors and then get a reward from the merchant. How cool would that be? Another thing that was really cool that I liked from Fallout New Vegas, most specifically, is that there would be a limited stock of items in the shop, and the game had a time system, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And, for example, the gun runners, I would love to buy ammo from them because they had tons of it and the pricing was a bit expensive, but it was a good source. Every Wednesday at 7 a.m. they restocked. That is so cool. It's that how there's like a specific time, as if it was a real life thing, that they restocked, and it doesn't even depend on the player. This stuff just happens in the background. All the merchants have like a specific day of the week where they just restock all their shops. And it's something that the player could eventually pick up on and take advantage of. So it'd be like, hey, it's been a week since I've been to the gun runners, I might as well pick up some ammo. Something like that would be really cool, because it would imply that there's, again, something bigger than the player is happening outside this world. The world moves on without them. So that's my first suggestion. My second suggestion goes along the line of verifying accounts. In a previous video of mine, I talked about preventing scammers and hackers, and today I would like to suggest linking social medias to your game's account, similar to on the Hypixel server. This can help verify that people are who they say they are, as well as protect against scams and hackers. Again, I talked a lot more about this in that video if you want to check it out. It's in the top right hand corner. And it also helps if a YouTuber is found. It would be pretty funny as a YouTuber to just be, doing your own thing, and then somebody meets you and it says like ThirtyVirus above your head, and it's like, oh, I recognize you from YouTube, and then you like check out my profile and you see the linked YouTube account, kind of like on Discord. You click on the account and it says like linked accounts, and then you can click on it and it's like, holy crap, it's you. Some other stuff that would be cool is that, of course, you can toggle whether or not this is public, but maybe it could list your favorite mods, your favorite servers, your favorite resource packs, especially the freaking resource packs. Do you guys know how many times people ask me for my resource pack? Literally 10 times a day. So if you could just get that information in the game, like it's stored, hey, this is what this guy likes to use as his texture pack, that would be freaking amazing. And for anybody, not just YouTubers. Because maybe they did post a video and they showed it to you and it's like, hey, I like your pack, I'm going to download it. And they don't have to get a link or anything, it's just right there. It's already confirmed that you could join your friends on multiplayer servers, so why not be able to see their favorite servers as well? Competitive stats would be really cool if you could store things like the official kill-death ratios on, for example, Bed Wars, or whatever the equivalent of Bed Wars is in Hytale. Like Plank.io sort of stuff. Okay, my third idea is furthering the idea of support for YouTubers and streamers, highlighting videos on servers using the theater feature. They actually made a post on Twitter after I wrote the script for this video, so that's pretty neat. Again, they are already doing so much that I bet half of these points are already done. They just haven't said anything about it yet. But again, it would be a pretty cool idea to promote Hytale YouTubers on their own servers using the theater feature. And one thing that I think would be awesome would be streamer mode, which would obfuscate chat, player skins, player names, server names. For example, if you're on a specific node on a competitive server, it would like hide that or obfuscate it. Names, coordinates, etc. to prevent stream sniping. Maybe it'd be something like the Nick Hider mod, which would be pretty neat. It would also be cool if you could integrate the stream chat into the chat. For example, how Minecraft had Twitch support for a little while, but then they discontinued it. But I think it'd be cool if it was brought back, such that you could replace your in-game chat with your Twitch chat, so that you could, read your chat without having to look over to another monitor, assuming you have one. But if you don't, that'd be really useful. If you had one monitor and you were streaming, then you could still read your chat while playing the game. Another thing that would be really convenient is Optifine and Zoom. I think this is a more general thing than just helping out YouTubers, but it's a really cool way to do like live editing. It's kind of like the thing in Portal, where you can just zoom in. But I do think it is something that helps the quality of videos, because with comedic timing, you could zoom into things, and it makes like a nice little editor's moment without having to actually put it in the video. And it's just useful in general. So, Optifine and Zoom would be really neat. Resource packs, duh. So the fourth thing would be full world edit, brushes, copy pasting tools, rotating, flipping, mass replace of blocks, voxel sniper. All these really powerful tools for world edit being in the game. I do recognize that it is extremely moddable, so these things could probably be added, but of course an official version that's really, really good quality would be great, because world edit has its quirks. I actually never use it anymore. I use fast async world edit because the original always crashed servers. It was pretty inconvenient, but if there were built-in things, maybe they could then be modified even further. But at least a very basic world edit tool, a voxel sniper, things like that could then be upgraded with mods later would be really neat. Also, some abilities from MC Edit would be nice. For example, moving offline players, modifying biomes, combining dimensions from different worlds, maybe even just straight up toggling whether or not a world has a certain dimension in it. What if you're on a minigame server and you don't care? Let's go with Minecraft, for example. Maybe you're on a Bed Wars server and you don't need a nether or end. Of course, that's what multiverse is for, but what if that was built in? That would be really cool. Changing of world generation rules will be nice, so maybe having a custom world generation algorithm inserted into the map would be really cool, using the world edit tool. Maybe you'd be able to add schematics for things like randomly generated buildings. I forgot what the name of them were, but what if you could do that in game? That'd be really neat. A major way to reduce the temptation to cheat, such as something like a trophy icon that would come up when you like pause your game or something, that would state that a world is cheat-free, and the ability to create new save files from copying your current one, and then it could test out all your cheating and stuff and then go back. Kind of like how in Skyrim, if you have a really awesome save, you put like 100 hours into it, but you want to see what happens when you blow up a dude's head using a modded weapon. So then you save your game, you turn off the game, you install the mod, you go back in, you spawn in the item, and then you blow up the guy's head, and it's like, oh, that was really cool. But then you turn off the game, uninstall the mod, and then go back to your save, and then you're back where you were. You never technically cheated in the first place, you just wanted to entertain an idea. So I think a big problem with Minecraft is the temptation to cheat. Anyone that's watched Survival Island would know that fly mode has basically become part of the series, and now it's inseparable. And it is kind of annoying because I see myself depending on it way too much, and I almost wish I never started to begin with, because it would feel more legit that way. But I think Hytale should have that as a priority, that even if there is a creative mode, that there's some way to just not be tempted to cheat. So there'd be, again, a trophy that would say this world is cheat free. Now this is something I'm fairly confident will be added to the game, but I just want to put it out there just in case. Importing sounds into the game for modding purposes, right? I mean, it's probably going to be a thing. Also, running certain animations and cinema pieces at will, as if it was a cutscene in the game. I think this is already going to be a thing, but, you know, just might as well put it out there. Oh, here's one that's new. Replay mod, like recording of actions in the game, would be really neat. So if you're trying to create a trailer using the trailer tools, maybe you could just have a thing that's always on. You could be playing your game, and then once you find something you like, you press a button, and then the past 10 minutes automatically gets recorded as like this large file that you can free cam around in, and it just tracked everything that happened. I think that would be really cool. And technically, using that technology, you could do time travel. How cool would that be, that you can go back in time by 10 seconds or something in some game mode, because technically everything in the background is being tracked? That would be really neat. For another thing, graphics settings, like shaders, anti-aliasing, preloading of blocks and lighting for limited or small areas to optimize performance, things like that. A whole bunch of graphic settings that would be really helpful for either making the game look as great as possible or making it perform really well when there's minimal tasks. For example, having a map if you're playing a mini game and you don't need everything loaded. Maybe you would just preload all the blocks and everything if nothing needs to be broken. Some graphic settings like that would be really good, I think. Now, that was a really short one, but I do think it's important. Another suggestion would be the chat of Hytale. So Minecraft's chat is pretty versatile, but it definitely has its limits. For example, the color palette. There's only like 10 or 11 different colors. So I think it'd be really neat if Hytale had the full RGB range. Something I like from YouTube chat specifically is that if somebody were to say your name, then it highlights it. So if I'm watching a stream and someone says 30virus, look at this, I will see in big orange text 30virus. So something like that in game, maybe toggleable, would be really good to highlight your name in the chat. Having some filters will be nice as well. So maybe you can have a kids mode, and client side, it will replace any bad words with less bad words. There'd be some other things too, like maybe party chat, guild chat, being able to switch between your chats at will. Of course, all this can probably come with mods, but the important thing is the increased color palette and the highlighting of the name. I already said earlier about stream chat. I still think that would be really cool to be able to just straight up have your stream chat in your game chat. Okay, the next suggestion kind of goes along with my suggestion from last video with cubic chunk loading. I would suggest that the ground level be considered y coordinate 0. So then if you go below, you would go into negative numbers. If you go above, you would go obviously positive numbers. And what this would do is promote the idea of an infinite world. So it'd be less confusing that, for example, ground level would be 60. That would mean you can only go 60 blocks down before you hit bedrock. But if it's 0, you don't know how freaking far down you could go. What if, depending on the world, you can go down to negative 10,000? Again, with cubic chunk loading. So that would be a nice way to organize it. Really simple. Another one would be debugging tools for mods and mod conflicts. Also, as some kind of database integration would be nice. You know, like H2 or a MySQL support for modding. I don't really have much depth on this idea because I don't 100% know how you would be able to automate the process of, you know, debugging mod conflicts. But I do think a little bit something beyond the error logs would be pretty neat. If the game was smart enough to know, hey, this plugin is doing one thing and then this other plugin is undoing the thing the first one did, that would be really helpful because sometimes it takes over an hour to figure out as a server owner in Minecraft. That happens a lot, and it's... As a bonus, I would also like to suggest offline play. I do think that will be a thing, but that also brings up the question, what could happen with cracked accounts? They could just play offline, then they won't have to deal with verifying their account, and they'll be playing the game free. So that would be a problem. So I'm not going to really call it a true suggestion. I guess I'm just throwing the idea out there. Well, anyway, leave a like down below if you guys enjoyed this video, and this is my second Hytale Ideas video. There are so far 20 really interesting miscellaneous ideas that I've thrown out there on YouTube for the devs to consider. And hopefully, I'll have another 10 for you guys at some point. But for now, I'm tapped dry from ideas. So if you'd like to help me out with that, you should join the 30virus botnet Discord. I read all of your suggestions as long as you @ me, and please don't do it for stupid reasons. If you actually have a suggestion for the game, then go right ahead. Anyway, it's not me trying to be rude. It's just something that happens and it gets really annoying. Well, anyway, that's it. So, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys later.